To use this area as my screen, I have to merge all these cells together. I have to merge them. To merge them in HTML, we are going to use only one TD for the first row. Only one TD for the first row. Then we are going to use what we call co-span to merge all of them. So let's proceed. At my code, I'll go back to where my TD is. You can see the table. You can see my first TD. So I'm going to remove all of them, leaving only one TD. This TD, let me write it 0. Let me just write it 0. I click on save. Clicking on save, I will come back here and refresh. You see I have only one. So this one I have now, I'm going to expand it here. I'm going to set the cool span to be 4 so that it will cover 1, 2, 3, and 4. So to do that, I'll go to my code, add an attribute to this TD that has this 0. I will cell colon span, I will say colon span, as the colon span is equals to, in quotes, I will say 4, and I save with Ctrl S. Go back to my web browser and refresh. You will see that I have the screen. Looking at the screen that I have just created, you will notice that the 0 is at the left hand side, but in normal calculator this 0 is supposed to be here, and this 0 is supposed to use a particular font. So we are going to do all this using CSS. Now back to my code. At that TD that I use colon span for, I'm going to set the height with CSS by writing style. I want to use inline CSS. I will set the height. I will say let the height be 35 ps. End with my semicolon and save, and run the page again. You see that actually I have set the height the way I want it to be. Back to my code, I will say let this use align. Let it align to right. Align. We have test align, we say test align semicolon colon test align, test minus align colon right. End it with semicolon and save. You refresh. You can see that the 0 have moved to the right hand side, and this 0 is too small, and I don't like the font this 0 is using. I want it to use calculator font, and this 0 is also very close to the edge of the screen, so I have to pad something here to shift this 0 a bit, and I have to change the font family of this 0. So back to my code, still on that CSS, I will come here and give a space and write font size. To increase the font size is equals to 25 ps. End it with my semicolon. I will now say font family, font minus family colon font family colon DG face white. I save. Then I save by clicking Ctrl S. Go to my web browser and refresh. You see that the font have changed both the size and the font to 0 and using the calculator font. So I have to pad. Back to my code, the same TD that I use colon span for, I have to pad and this font family with semicolon. Then I'll say padding colon, let me say 7 ps. Ctrl S, I save. back to my web browser and refresh, you will see that I have paired something. Actually, I have given a space here. Now let's proceed. You can see that all these 1 1 1, all of them are at the left hand side. I want all of them to be at the middle, so that when I change any one, maybe if I change this to 9, this to 8, this to 7, it will appear at the middle of each of these cells. So how do I do that? I go back to my code, scroll up, that CSS that I'm using TD, I will tell them that everything in TD should be aligned at the center. I will now say there, test align colon center. I save, I refresh. You can see that all the numbers now have appeared at the center. Now I want to merge these two cells to use it as my calculator. I want to merge these two cells. What do I do? What I have to do is that I will come to the last row and remove the last TD. At the last row, I will remove this. Then this one, I will merge it down. I will bring it down. I will make it more tall so that it will cover this row and the second row. So I'm going to use the row span of 2 here. I will remove this one. Use the row span of 2 here. Note that this one is at the last row, the last TD in the last row. So back to my code here. I will scroll down, find my last row. You can see my last row, my last TR, that's the last row before the table closing tag. Now I will remove this, the last one. I will remove it and click Ctrl S. Back to my web browser. If I refresh, you see that that one has disappeared. Now I want to make this one to cover here so that I will use it as my plus. Now back to my code. You can see from the web browser, second to the last row and the last TD is the one we want to use. Second to the last row and the last TD. Back to my code. This is the last row that I have removed the one. Second to the last, which is this. This is the plus here. That is the last one. Now I'm going to put plus in between them. Plus. Then here I will say row span is equals to, in quotes, row span is equals to, in quotes, I will say 2, so that this TD will cover the 2 rows. That's to cover this row that I have deleted here. Clicking Ctrl X, back to my code and refresh. You will see what I have, and I have plus here. Now as I want to use this thing as a calculator, I'm going to change the background color of this thing to blue, and I'm going to change this plus to white color. Now I want it to look like something like this. This one blue, the plus is white. Back to my code. This place that I use code span, I have to use CSS to style them. I will now say style is equals to input background color colon blue, and with my semicolon, then I will say color, that is the text color is white, and with my semicolon and save. Back to my web browser. If I refresh, you will see what I have here. I have blue color with the plus button inside. I think I am through designing this plus button. Now I'm going to start naming all my numbers in this calculator. Now you know how the calculator normally starts: 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9. So this is where my number will appear. So how do I know that? The last row, I'll start from there. Coming back to my code, the last row, which is this, I'll start. Maybe I'll use this one. I'll say let this one be divide, let this one be dot, and let this one be 0. I save. Back to my code. If I refresh, you can see that I have 0 here, I have dot here, and I have divide here. So I'm going to have here 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9. You can see that I'm going to number here, leaving the last columns, the last TD of each of them. Back to my code. the second to the last here. I'm going to start numbering it. 1 here, 2 and 3. Go to the top. I will leave the last TD. Number this 4, number this 5, number this 6. Go to the top again, leave the last TD, number this 7, number this 8, number this 9, and I click on save. Ctrl S, I save. I refresh. You can see that I have here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Now I want to use here as my equal to. I have to use here as my equal to. So I'll go to my code, look for where I put that division. That's the last row. I will change it to my equal to. Press Ctrl X to save them. Then I will refresh my code. You see what I got? I got equal to there.